The Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Steven Sakach, joined by my co-host, Mike Liwski, and our special guest today. Before we start, a little bit of news. This morning, our AI Chief Marketing Officer platform at aicmo.io won gold medal from the Merit Awards for marketing communications, technology, and innovation. And I heard a few minutes ago, we're also featured in Performance Marketing World's top tools of this week. So fun way to kick off the day. If you are a small business or run a small marketing team, check it out at aicmo.io. We really want to help you market with purpose. And that gets us to the show today. We're speaking with a leader who proves that even the most unexpected industries can create real impact, not just for their customers, but for their communities and teams. And we have a lot of franchises that have been around for many years, and we wanted to dive in with some that are in the early stages of the journey. And that's the case today. So Mike, introduce our guest today.
Oh, I'd absolutely love to, Stephen. Looking forward to the conversation. So today, our special guest is Julie Harrell, the president of Cooper's Scoopers. It's a pet waste removal company with an unwavering focus on dignity, service, and making sure that there's social good. So Julie has taken what some might see as a basic service and transformed it into really a mission-driven enterprise, from employing and uplifting team members to upbuilding a business that people are proud of to be a part of. She's redefining what it means really to lead with heart, which we know we really love to talk about here on the show. So Julie, welcome to our show today.
Thank you. Super excited to be here.
Oh, and we are super excited for this conversation. Maybe just to start us off on a lighter note, what inspired you to turn a scooping business into a platform that is benefiting, making a social impact and benefiting communities?
Yeah, so I actually took on this opportunity back in December. So the concept of Cooper's Scoopers was created last summer. And it was an incredible, very heartwarming story. So our founder was spending time with her grandparents, and they had a little fluffy dog, obviously providing them a lot of companionship in their older age. Maybe not going out as much, maybe not seeing people as often, but always having that wet nose to snuggle with. But also seeing the challenges when it comes to being able to have a clean, safe backyard for that pet, and also, grandchildren come over to run around. So I saw a real need there for being able to enjoy that companionship without the dirty work that comes in it. So I was really excited to take on this opportunity back in December for Cooper's Scoopers as the president. And again, we may be in the pet waste business, but at our core, we're about dignity, opportunities for our franchisees, and also making sure that we are creating a clean, safe environment for residential and commercial customers.
That wet nose comment just reminded me how I woke up this morning. I had my little 8-pound Maltese just kind of jump on my chest and poke me. It's time to get up, time to go outside. Julie, many people kind of underestimate industries like yours in a lot of ways, yet I think what's unique is you can find ways to touch people in very real, consistent ways, right? How has purpose shifted the perception of your business, internally, externally?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is making sure that we are sending in Cooper certified, technicians for all of our customers. We want to make sure not only that the backyard is safe and clean, but we want to make sure that our customers know who's entering their backyard. Know who is potentially, the biggest thing for us is making sure that we're going above and beyond in that service. So they know who's coming, they know what services they're getting. And then our technicians go above and beyond on making sure that, the gate's closed, that, there's nothing in the backyard that's going to harm the pet. So really doing that with our branding, making sure that our technicians are fully branded as they're entering any property, and sharing that story as well, the founder's story with all of our customers.
That also reminds, I just went on a trip, and as I'm in the airport, I heard we had 5 rattlesnakes in our backyard. I know, and I'm like, my mom's watching the house, and I'm thinking like, okay, I've got the elderly person and the very small dog, and I'm like, you can't go into the backyard right now. I'm gonna have to send someone over. But there are really very real. I mean, that's very real, but very real concerns too with taking care of pet and providing that safe environment back there. That sometimes we just, like you said, you don't want anyone just going in the backyard and leaving the gate open or something like that.
Right. I mean, there's dangers to a broken fence post, right? That's something that our technicians again will go above and beyond to make sure that that pet's safe. They're also going to look at potential changes in the pet's diet. I don't know if anyone has had a vet visit with a dog that's potentially swallowed a sock, but that's very dangerous and very expensive. So we want to make sure that our pet parents know that we are always going to go above and beyond when it comes to the care of their pets.
Yeah, but going beyond the service, right? It's almost providing, looking after the well-being of the pet, right?
Absolutely.
It's a great concept. So, Julie, one of the things, fostering engagement and connections, we understand is absolutely critical, right? And we love to discuss that oftentimes on this show. And in fact, there was a report that was recently done by PwC, and 89% of the executives that were interviewed in this report were saying that a purpose-driven company delivers a better employee experience, higher employee satisfaction, and better retention of their employees. So, I mean, that stat just speaks volumes, right? When there's 89% of those leaders out there that are saying that. So, and yourself, right? You've built a team, a culture that not only performs, but it sounds like from what you're saying, they really feel connected with the families that they're serving, with the pets that they're serving. So how do you, though, foster that kind of engagement and the loyalty?
So that really starts with just seeing people where they are and treating every role as essential, right? So even myself, our franchise owners, our technicians, anyone who is under the Cooper Scoopers umbrella, making sure that they know how essential they are, and giving them the tools to be able to do that. Also, we really big on celebrating all of our wins, big and small. So again, as we're starting, we are a very brand new business. So it's really important to celebrate whatever step we're at. We also give our franchisees a lot of ownership within their business and communicating all of the time, from a corporate stance down to our customers, again, going above and beyond. We want to make sure people feel seen and heard. And when they're respected, seen, heard, they want to stick around. They have more value in their job. And then that's also bringing incredible customer retention because it's a trickle-down effect. So we're hoping to duplicate that across the nation as we continue to grow Cooper Scoopers.
Yeah. Well, and you're well, on your way. It sounds like. I love your comment there, because we, as well on the show, discuss a lot of the conscious capitalism principles. And one of the key principles there is looking after or keeping in mind all of the stakeholders. And as you were sort of articulating there, right? There's the employee, there's the family, there's the pet, there's yourself, for example, the franchisee. So it sounds like everybody there at Cooper Scoopers is really being considered then in the activities of the organization.
Very important.
So you're kind of in this early stage of growth. Let's see, I think you said you opened your first franchise in February. You're now up to 7 locations. One thing that in these early stages that is, I guess it's maybe a little bit easier in the early stage to maintain kind of that culture and that, level of, intentional hiring and things like that. How are you going to make sure you maintain that as you grow, and the stuff that's important to you doesn't get kind of washed away by a system or something like that?
Yeah, so our mission and value for our parent company loyalty brands is having fun and improving lives. And we also have additional missions and values for Cooper Scoopers. So we have to make sure that not only the people that we're bringing on now, but the people that we're bringing on in 6 months, a year from now, believe in those missions and those values, truly our values of giving back, creating a clean space. All of us want to be a part of something. We want to be a part of something bigger than us. So being able to educate the population on the toxicity that's lingering in their backyard or running down into their waterways. That hits home specifically for myself. I'm located in the Tidewater area of Virginia Beach, Virginia. So making sure that we are staying true to those values of keeping our world clean and safe as we continue to grow. Saw this awesome quote from a podcast that I was listening to last week. Growth doesn't mean letting go of purpose. It means spreading it wider. So we have to make sure that we are constantly staying true to our values and the purpose of why we are in this business.
Yeah, I think our guest on Tuesdays said sometimes you want to put the cult in culture when we're talking about it, but it's just because really you don't want that as things trickle down just to get diluted, right?
Right.
You really want to make sure that's that purpose is repeated continually. When you're hiring someone new, are there any kind of, as a franchisee, are there any specific traits you're looking for in that person?
Yeah, I mean, somebody who really has a growth mindset. This business has the opportunity for multiple trucks within a territory. Somebody who really does want to give back. Somebody who has a concern for public health. Wants to make sure that the world's going to be a safe place for their children and grandchildren. And somebody who really shows up with respect and kindness in any capacity. We are picking up poop, but it is much more than that. So we want to make sure that someone has that ability to connect with their community from many different aspects, not only cleaning up the pet waste.
Yeah. So Julie said, I could actually, when you're responding and you're saying that we all want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, I could see Tulio, our executive producer, in the back just going like, yes, because it's so true. Question for you about the franchisees that you're looking to attract. Similar question to what Steve asked you. What sort of traits do you look for in them? What sort of individuals are you trying to attract to Cooper Scoopers?
So somebody who is willing to follow the system, right? You definitely join a franchise because you want the playbook there. So you have to have a mindset to follow our system that we provide to you. You also want to make sure that you do have an entrepreneurial mindset. This is your business, right? You're buying into the brand and the systems, but at the end of the day, this is your business. So you do have to be able to execute. So those are definite traits that we want our franchisees to have. And again, that team spirit. That is the most incredible thing about joining Cooper Scoopers is the community that you have around you. We are growing in certain territories quicker than others, but you have a best friend right next to you that you can text. We have our internal communications that is going to support you throughout the way. So being able to work in a team setting, even though you may be on your, in your own little territory, is very important for the growth and the success of our franchisees.
With this stage of your franchise building, what kind of things are you particularly focused on?
Yeah, so a lot of our systems and processes have to work for multiple trucks within a territory for a franchise owner. And as, again, rapid growth. In 2 months, we're up to 7 territories. So we have very big goals at Cooper Scoopers to make sure that there are multiple trucks, many trucks across the nation. So making sure that the systems and processes that we are implementing work now and then a year from now. We also want to make sure that our franchisees are going to be fanatical fans of Cooper Scoopers. it all starts with a conversation. So we want to make sure that they are fans of the business that they're running, and they have the confidence to share about Cooper's Scoopers with everyone.
Yeah, I can see that being that fanatical fan being a big difference maker for them. People feel that, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it certainly brings zeal, to the work that you do. So, Julie, bringing it back to the conversation around values. So, you're related to this topic of values, and obviously, values, are at times just sort of thrown around as things that companies have to have. You could say maybe some just think of them as like table stakes. But there was a report out that was stating that 72% of the consumers say that they're more likely to be loyal, right, to a company that aligns with their values. And that report was done by Cohn, Porter, and Novelli. And that's a huge opportunity, right, then for a business to really try to identify those customers and align with those that connect with them, right? So how do you communicate, I guess, your values to customers and make sure that they're known, and that it isn't just, the service that you're providing, but, really in a way, this is, like you said, something bigger than the service?
Yeah, so that starts with our initial conversation with any of our customers, right? We want to make sure that they are very aware of all of the value that we bring, and the value that we bring to the service is a direct response to the values that we have as a company. And that's another question. So to turn that back around, to make sure that those values trickle down to our customers, we want to understand, we want our franchisees, when they're joining our team, we want them to share their values out loud. I think that's something sometimes, we can kind of sit in our heads and say, oh yeah, this is my value, but how often do we actually speak truth to those words? Yeah. So I think that's really important for our franchisees as they're joining our team to share those out loud. Make sure that they align with their goals in their life as well, right? We all have personal, professional goals. So making sure that they align. And then again, we're all on the same page. We're all moving in the same direction, values, mission, and then again, growth. So making sure that trickles down to all of our customers.
Gotcha. And then sort of maybe, go ahead, Steve.
I didn't say anything. Go for it, Mike.
Oh, I thought you were gonna, jump in there. Super important, right? I love to hear that, being able to live those values rather than something that just, lives on a wall somewhere.
Right.
What's that?
An inspirational cat poster.
Yep, exactly. Maybe transitioning the conversation now next to the topics of profit, responsibility, legacy. There's this idea of purpose again that comes, and there's one thing that I love to ask all of our guests that come here on the show. What role do you think, or what would you say that a well-defined purpose plays in the success of a business?
Yeah, so I mean, again, going back to even the most overlooked jobs, making sure we're doing that with pride. Again, having that purpose and heart. At the end of the day, we are not just picking up pet waste. We are providing clean space. We are giving back to the planet. And so, really focusing on that throughout every single service that we complete.
Oh, did we lose Julie? Oh, there she is.
Yeah, she's there. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved how you were saying earlier, in terms of like safe and clean, doing no harm to the pet, and I mean, really looking after the overall health of someone's family member, really, at the end of the day, right, when we think about it.
Absolutely. We're seeing an incredible increase in pet ownership. So over 70% of households own a pet, and over 50% of those households own a dog. And we're not slowing down, right? We're getting busier and busier as, I'm a working mom of two. My plate is overflowing. So an incredible service to offer. But again, that purpose is going to keep us grounded, be our North Star, to make sure that, we're just going above and beyond when it comes to the service, increasing our customer retention, and again, inviting people to be a part of something that truly matters.
You are definitely very busy. I can only imagine as a president, on top of like wanting to help do some of the marketing as you're doing right now, looking after all of the other components of the business. So I can imagine you're a very busy lady.
Julie, so some leaders, they kind of see profit and social responsibility as kind of these maybe opposing forces. But your, story in this conversation, obviously, it kind of shows otherwise. How do you think businesses can pursue both, without compromising either? Or do you have any tips for business owners trying to pursue both?
It's communication, over communicating with your franchisees. Really, as you are a leader, so you truly can't be in the passenger seat of a business of a franchisee's truck, right? But really communicating what the goals are, over communicating our purpose, right? And then making sure that you're giving clear goals, KPIs for your franchisees, and see what their focus is. I've been in the franchise industry for almost 5 years now, so that's the biggest thing. Franchisees, again, not following the system, can focus on the wrong area. So just constantly communicating with them to make sure that their heart is in it, and that their mind is focused on the right thing.
And to communicate with them, are you using what kind of systems, or what are you guys set up for that at this stage?
Well, since we are a startup, we communicate almost daily.
I was going to say, probably at this early stage, right? The communication is probably a lot more hands-on than if you've got like 150 locations or something, right?
Absolutely. But I'm also taking into an account that growth, right? I want to make sure that the communication cadence is structured in a way, and the tools that we use is structured in a way that is going to, again, create those touch points for our franchisees at 7 and then at 150.
Yeah, you have to kind of consider both those things.
Right. And making sure that we're creating that teamwork that I talked about earlier. You have somebody right next to you. So make sure that you are utilizing every resource that is provided, because you are a part of this incredible brand and the support system.
All right, we've got a question from the audience here. Julie, if you could fast forward 5 years, what's the dream scenario for Cooper Scoopers?
Love that. So innovative disposal tactics, right? Question: how much waste does the average dog produce in a year? Average dog, so say 35, 40 pounds.
That's like 4 of my dogs. So I purposely kind of don't want a bigger dog because of all the, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's the answer
300
there?
pounds?
275 pounds.
275. Wow.
So that's one dog, a lot of waste. So making sure that we are, again, being very mindful of our environment and creating innovative ways to dispose of our waste. So that, and seeing 3,000 trucks on the road across the nation of Cooper Scoopers franchisees.
Yeah, that's and my neighbor's got 3 big dogs, so probably even 20 pounds bigger than that. So I can, this is like half a ton, I think, is what what the math is.
How long it took all Cooper Scoopers?
Yes, I know they need to.
Lifetime. Julie, I was really happy to hear you talk about the innovative ways to dispose of the waste. What are some of the thoughts, I guess, that are going into that, further use? Obviously, right, we use cow manure for certain fertilization. There's a lot of science, obviously, that goes into that. What are some of the things that perhaps you're either doing today or that you might be thinking about doing in that regard of innovative ways to dispose of that and help the planet out?
Absolutely. So again, that is our consistent goal on how we're going to dispose. So composting pet waste, unfortunately, is a very, very long process. Pet waste has a ton of protein in it, and it cannot be utilized on any product without some sort of treatment. But that's what it is today, right? We don't know what that's going to be like in the future, so we're constantly keeping a pulse on that. As a company now, we're using all eco-conscious and as many disposable, biodegradable products as possible. So we are constantly, we want to be number one when it comes to choosing eco-conscious products in our business. But there are a lot of ways that are currently being tested on how to dispose of pet waste.
Yeah,
Wow.
I can think like if you've got that purpose, that eco-minded purpose, eventually, yeah, you're going to come across a solution at some point.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
because you're continually asking that question. All right, we've got another audience question here. Are there any community programs or partnerships you've developed through your work?
Yes, I love that question. Always engaging within our community. So a lot of partnerships with, the SPCA, providing, for dogs that are adopted, saved from the shelters, making sure that they're getting their first scoop free. And then community programs, cleaning up, especially our area, again, going back to being around the water. So cleaning up the bay, making sure that we are connected with, again, our overall vision of having, a clean, safe planet.
Yeah, I love
Thanks
that.
so much for that question, Bayani. We appreciate it. And to our listeners, feel free to keep the questions coming.
Yeah, it's a good point that we've talked about with a lot of franchises, is that trying to build that local community connection in some way or another. There's a lot of ways they try and go about it, and some kind of view yourself as kind of the mayor of your area, right? So we have one more Andre's question here. Let's go to, how do you stay grounded, especially when demands of leadership get overwhelming?
That is an incredible question, especially for the stage of life that I'm in right now. Like I said, I am running this company as a startup. I have 2 young children, 7 and 2. Pride and joy also of my life. And the number one, and I have said this time and time again, but it is having incredible mentors around you. So making sure that you have somebody. Again, this has not been an easy job by any means. It has been exciting, and the amount of times that I'm laying in bed reading about pet waste is, my husband's like, "What are you reading now?" "Oh, did you know?" Fun fact about pet waste. But having somebody, right? Like I said, it can be challenging, and you can have an off day, right? You can have a day of negative thoughts or failures even, right? And you can reflect on those, but you cannot sit there. And if you have a mentor or somebody that you look up to and is allowing you to stay in that place for a long time, stay away from them. Find somebody else who is going to listen, provide feedback, and give you a positive next step, because you have to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and I always say, don't just have one mentor either. Someone can be like your mentor in this certain particular area of your life, where so you could have like the business mentor, but you could also have someone that pushes you maybe athletically or physically, or another person who maybe pushes you on the social justice side or whatever. But yeah, you can have different mentors in your life that can help you kind of level up in each of these different areas.
Yeah. And I think too, as we sort of go through our life, Steve, when we're younger, I sort of feel we look at mentors as those that we sort of wanted to emulate, right? And then now it almost seems as though the mentors in my life are really raising the level of consciousness. I don't know what has made that transition, if it's a change in goals or change in purpose, or if it's just at a different stage in life. But it's very interesting when you're able to have a mentor that you don't necessarily want to act like them, you don't necessarily want to be like them, but instead they help you sort of gain perspective and think a little bit broader than just one's self. So, Julie, going back to the point about the disposal of the waste, I mean, I think that is going to be tremendous in part to the success of Cooper Scoopers, because I would think that from the customer standpoint, if I was able to benefit the planet by partnering with an organization, perhaps like yourself, that is, disposing of waste in a responsible way versus, like, say, myself with our cat, just putting it in like the normal trash. Right. I would much rather, right, feel it would give me the feeling of trying to benefit the community, benefit the planet overall. Like I would almost be doing good in a way. Does that sort of make sense? And
absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you've driven past the landfill lately, but apparently any open space is now a landfill, right?
Yeah.
So anything we can do to eliminate that, and again, giving back as a parent is huge. So if we can connect with our families and provide that solution over the next 5 years, when it comes to the responsible disposal of pet waste, that is, a huge success in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, people, they won't remember the, features of a product or something, but they will remember our service. They will remember just how it made them feel a lot of times. So this is kind of going to what Mike's saying, is just that feeling of doing something socially responsible. We've got another another question for our guest from our audience. Does community engagement play a role in your marketing efforts?
Yes. Absolutely. So I actually saw this morning on a marketing post about how important it is for IRL, which I'm young, but I'm not that hip. So I was like, what is IRL? In real life events are. So that is absolutely very impactful. The more people that I've talked to in the last 5 months as I've taken on this position, that did not know that, one, this is a service, but two, that leaving your pet waste in your backyard is very toxic. They have small kids. They're like, oh, we'll clean it up later. That's being tracked into your home. So being able to be in IRL events within the community is incredibly important for our franchisees. The education aspect, but also building that relationship. You want to like, know, and trust whoever you are purchasing from. Again, we double down on that trust by making sure that our technicians are Cooper certified and have a background check. So that is number one for our franchisees as we are launching Cooper Scoopers across the nation.
Julie, we asked this question to every guest in some sort of form. Do you think love belongs in business?
Yes, absolutely. So it shows up for me specifically is respect as I am launching this business. Curiosity to make sure that we are working as a team to find solutions and doing that in a loving manner. And then kindness towards our hopeful franchisees, our existing franchisees, and our teams. I think it's really important. Making sure that love is contagious as well. That's that fanatical fan that we're creating for me being a fanatical fan of Cooper Scoopers, all the way down to our pets being a fanatical fan, being excited if they're in the backyard when a Cooper Scoopers technician comes in. And people feel that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you think, like, you're in this early stage where it's a lot of building systems and stuff, and so when you think of building love into those for Cooper, those kind of systems for Cooper Scoopers, can you think of an area or two that, like, just instantly comes to mind?
The communication to the pet parent. Yeah. So, hey, your backyard's clean, your backyard's locked. Saw Fluffy today, depending on if the pet parent said treats are okay. Maybe our technician gave Fluffy a treat that day. So definitely the communication aspect.
Yeah, that's a smart way to help build that connection and that relationship, right? So making sure that you're franchise owners understand the importance of that, right? As part of building that love into your system so that you can do this and not just, 7 franchise this year, but, next year, maybe you're up to 50 or something, right? And next year after that, 100.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that, you are creating that relationship, bringing that love into your business so that it's not always a transaction. It should never feel like a transaction. It should feel, again, like a connection.
Yeah. It is a business advantage, without a doubt. It'll set organizations apart, one from another. Those that will do it right will be the ones that connect in broader terms and survive. So, Julie, this has been such a thought-provoking question, without a doubt, from the overall safety, the cleanliness, the health of the pet. I loved your point about educating. I mean, who really knows, right, that all of this toxicity could necessarily exist if not handled appropriately. So very thought-provoking conversation today as well. Talked about the importance of purpose and values. So for our listeners, where can they learn a little bit more about Cooper's Scoopers?
Would love for everyone to go check out cooperscoopers.com. You can also find out more information about bringing a franchise to your territory. And you can also follow us on Instagram at coopers.scoopers. Today is actually, fun fact, it's National Hug Your Pet Day. So if you go hug your pet, make sure you tag Cooper's Scoopers.
Hug your pet, send a photo in.
Yeah, send the photo and tag Cooper Scoopers in your post, right?
Yes, please do.
All right, thanks again, Julie, and thank you to our listeners for joining us today. A lot of great questions today. Appreciate all the interaction. If today's episode inspired you to rethink the way business can serve both people and purpose, don't forget to subscribe and share, and give us a few of those more of those 5-star reviews. We always appreciate those. And we will see you next time on the Bliss Business Podcast.
Thanks, guys.